Hello, everyone. Today I am your host, Smitty Sato. Everyone, listen, it's a scary time for me, a scary time for you. It's week 6. We lost a lot of players, a lot of good ones. But it's the stop it, stop it, stop it. Just stop it, just stop it. What is
What
the name of
song
this
do you have going
podcast?
on in the back?
Like spinning plates. It's just felt my mood. What's the name of this podcast again? I literally forgot.
All right, y'all, welcome into the Fantasy BS podcast. You got your hosts here, Cassidy, Smitty, Brian. Back's a little sore. I'm not quite that sober, a little bit on Vicodin for this podcast. So Smitty is taking over the podcast, and already he has forgotten the name of it. This is the greatest podcast ever. Uh, Jesus. Okay, let's let it rip here. All right, guys, I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna say go Snakes. Let's let it rock, Smitty. It's all you, brother.
So, hi guys, welcome to the Fantasy BS podcast. The original host is taking it back a little because he has taken a type of pain pill, so I'm going to step up. As you can tell, I am a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, but we're gonna go through this. So, how's everyone doing? How does everyone feel about week 6? How does everyone feel about week 6?
You got to be specific and direct.
You're right. You're right. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just say hello. Uh-oh.
So
I
that,
think I'm gonna
Brandon
say
and I don't
hello.
talk over each other. You got to call us by name.
Right.
All right, Cassie, what were your thoughts about week 5, dude? Overall thoughts.
Okay. Are you guys sure we don't want to start over? Are we
I would
No.
love to start over.
The people need to hear this. Let's let it rip. Smitty, I'm going to try to take the reins back a
All
little
right,
bit.
everybody.
Will
So
you
this
send me a
is
screenshot of the email? Because I don't have my email up so I can see the screenshot. I'll take back over, bro.
Just want you guys to know this is a peek behind the curtain. This is what it's really like when we're just hanging out and talking bullshit about fantasy. So week
I
5.
love it, man.
Here's what we learned. Brock Purdy is the real deal, right? This is finally it's his turn in the news cycle. Everyone's talking about this kid. I think we found out that he's legit. Brian's pretty amped. We're going to definitely be talking about that kid. Week 5 was characterized by significant injuries, so we see a lot of stud players going on IR, but we're also seeing some players that have been waiting to break out finally come on the scene. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of relief there. So that's kind of my Week 5 takeaway.
Yeah, brother. Brock Purdy. I mean, everybody knows I've been talking Brock Purdy for months now. And actually, dude, you did that best ball draft, Cassidy, where it was choose players you haven't really been on board with.
Yeah.
That was the turning point when I got
Right.
all on board with Brock Purdy. That draft. So thank you, dude. I love that draft was awesome. I have no idea how I'm doing. I've got all my best ball leagues hid, and I'm just gonna look at the end of the year.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm with you. Brock Purdy, I think I threw this up in the Slack channel. He is just good at football. And I am done hearing about all his weapons and everyone's made it because of his weapons. Has anybody sat back and thought about this kid is making the weapons even better?
Yeah.
This kid is the
Oh,
king.
what? Whoa. Well, you know
Oh,
what?
man.
What about are the Cowboys defense overrated? What about that?
No, I'm not going there. Brock Purdy is underrated. Period. This dude, he will not turn the football over. He will not turn the football over. And that's why I was so big on him for in our league because those pick sixes are -4 points. And I wanted a quarterback that will not turn the ball over. So anyway, that's all I got to say about Purdy.
Sure. Well, it's not because the Cowboys through 5 games he has the best QBR. So, I mean,
And I don't have statistics, but I'm willing to bet he's in top 3 of the deep ball passes throughout for the start of the season. He's throwing the ball deep, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
we love
So,
this is
Yeah.
the Brock Purdy podcast.
hey,
Yeah,
yeah,
of course,
I love
of
it.
course.
It's not the Puka podcast now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we switched the reins from Rams to freaking 69ers. I love it. Love it,
Yes.
love it.
What were your thoughts? And then we'll get into the kind of segments here. So, what were your thoughts, Smitty?
Oh, on week 6 overall,
Yeah.
I'm just happy to report Joe Burr is back, baby. Finally. And he hyper-targeted Jamar Chase. I mean, should have done that week 1, but it's all good. We learn and we adapt and we move forward in the greatness. So shout out to the Bengals for figuring that out.
Did you finally win your week, Smitty?
I did not.
What?
I did not.
Oh my God.
I know. It was. I was playing against Hillary, and she's a really she really turned that team around when she traded away Jefferson.
Smitty, it is very difficult to lose when you have the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase stack. It got so bad to the point 2 minutes before the game was over, I had to text you what the median was because you damn near didn't even get the median, dude. What'd you get the median by, like 1 point?
By like 2, 3. You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? That Thursday night game, that fantastic Thursday night game, Manders and Bears. I was up by 20 because she started a negative defense and I started Curtis Samuel, and everything just fell apart kind of directly after that game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome, but kind of got into it. Let's just get into the news and notes. Like, let's just go over standings here, boys. And by the way, biggest news of the week, everybody saw it. Welcome, Dub Cass, back into the Triple C League. I'm so happy you're here. I welcome you as a co-manager. I love the way you play football. I feel like our family's whole. We're going to get Andre 2000 into this somehow next year as a co-manager too. Hopefully he gets back in, and then the family's still here. It's going to be awesome. But first thing I'll just want to call out is Tim. What are you doing, dude? You lost. You lost, man. What are you doing? Nah, you're 8-2, bro. You're doing good. Hillary,
Keep that losing streak going, buddy.
Yeah, and he didn't podium in DFS, dude. I feel like, whew, man, it's a bad week for him. But either way, dude, Hillary's still killing it. Tony's out there buying weeks. I didn't even look to see if he had a bad beat. I'll check that one out in a second. And then we got a bunch of teams just right there in the 6-4, 5-5. I'm now back, baby. I'm 5-5. It took me a little bit to get out of that dumpster, but Buzz Lightyear, man. That's why. And then we got to talk about a lamb to slaughter. We got to talk about Bryce. Bryce, man, I am sorry, dude, that you had A-Rich going. I am sorry that happened to you. You are just consistently just getting beat down, but you have scored 927 points, and you are currently sitting in last place. You have scored more than Matt Brewer. You've scored more than Smitty, who's in 10th. You've scored more than Adrian, who's in 9th. You have scored more than John. You have scored more, that's it, and more than Oh My Balls, Tony, at the 3 spot. So bad beats, brother. Just keep doing what you're doing. And you snuck Minshew on your bench, dude. Well done, sir. So any thoughts on the standings, Smitty?
No, actually about Gardner Minshew, he kind of did that like ahead of time because he did notice that AR had a bit of a concussion problem like in like week 2 or something. So it was something smart he did before, and I'm glad he kept him on his bench because he knew he was going to need him. So I'm telling you, this guy's making the right moves. He'll be up.
Cassidy, let me ask you this, dude. So the worst feeling I feel like I can have is watching a player get hurt, which already sucks. Someone you really want to watch, and then you think to yourself, holy crap, let me go figure out how much I need to bid on in waivers. And you go into waivers and a player that should be there is not there. Is that not the worst feeling? Scotty did it to me with Jerome Ford. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. And I cannot believe that I didn't get to bid on Minshew. So, doesn't that suck, Cassidy?
It's the worst when that guy's on your radar and you've been thinking about making a move and you're kind of hesitating, and then you make the decision and you go to the waiver wire and that person's not there and your stomach falls in your butt. Yeah, that's the worst.
Yep. Absolutely sucks. So you guys, man, Sharp League, you guys do it to me all the time. It just well done on everybody's part. Now, Smitty, you got the transactions, by the way, from the waiver wire since you were going to host?
Yeah, I do have the transactions. Just really quickly, I just want to mention all of these guys that went on injury reserve. Justin Jefferson, that's a big loss. Khalil Herbert, that's an interesting loss. Anthony Richardson, like we just spoke on. See you soon, buddy. Devon, Buzz Lightning, Chan, he is gone, man. and James Conner, who we'll speak about later. So, into the waiver wires. This was a fun week, guys. Tim won the Donta Foreman sweepstakes with $11 fab. So, shout out to him. Dr. Jamie beat the single competitor of India, Salman Ahmed sweepstakes by $9. Hillary managed to get her Chiefs defense back from the waiver wire after that negative game from the Manders defense. So great to get a good defense back in the squad, Hillary. Should just keep on making moves. Okay, Brian, now we're going to talk about our host here. He paid $21 more than every other bid for David Scarface Njoku. Shout out to you. You got Scarface, man. I mean, he looks super cool, so that should be fun.
So I'm going to call myself out as well. So Tony and I, we've been going back and forth about the value of tight ends in here. Okay. And I have never played fantasy football that I missed a scoring setting. Never before. Somehow I missed that tight ends get an extra point for first downs. And it's all the way at the bottom. I missed that. And tight ends became a little bit more valuable to me. But go back and look at Njoku at the end of the year. He always shows out at the end of the year. His matchups are good moving forward. And it was one of those that I need to find that space right there. So it was more about a future thing. That's all.
No, frankly, it's a good pickup. It's just, you paid a lot, but you're not the only one. Oh,
that's
tough. You won the Kendre Miller sweepstakes by a single $5 bid. So congratulations. That kid looked great. So
that could be
that's a
important.
great.
That could come in. That could be significant later on.
He's a good zero RB guy in this.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah. Now let's talk about the show. All right. So Amari Demercado was undoubtedly the hottest waiver wire player. I mean, he looked all right to replace James Conner, and I blew all you mofos out the water with a $71 bid. And the sad part about it is the second highest bid was only $18. So I'm gonna explain myself with that really quick. I am no Amari Demercado fan. I don't know him. I never knew what kind of school he went to. By the way, I did find out he a JUCO guy, and he also graduated with all kinds of degrees. So shout out to him. But
so you had to Google and see where he went to college, didn't you?
I did after the fact. I did, yeah.
I had to.
Because I literally did not know who this guy was. Because here's the thing. When I heard that James Conner went down, I'm like, okay, let's take a look at Keontae Ingram here. Let's see if he's productive. And some dude scored a touchdown, was catching passes. I'm like, dang, Keontae Ingram is solid all of a sudden. But no, it's some guy named Amari Demercado, and this is one of the situations for me that I want you guys to comment on. I made this bid because my number one thing was to make sure that nobody else played him, okay? I wanted to make sure I was the guy to have this guy, because if I go against someone else playing Amari Demercado, whether he's number 2 on the depth chart or not, I mean, at this moment, I didn't want to have to deal with that. So how do you guys feel about overbidding to make sure no one else plays this guy? Not necessarily to start him if he's great or not, but just to make sure no one else has this guy. How do y'all feel about that as a strategy?
To you, Cassidy.
Man, that is I was going to say that's never occurred to me. That's not true. When you get to playoffs, I've definitely come across that situation before. But at this point in the season, with a guy with such a question mark, I don't know, man. I want to justify you. You know I love you, but you massively overbid. I actually think he's a good asset. He's going to be valuable on your roster, but man, did you overpay.
I agree, and you know what? The funny thing is I started the bid was 50, then I rose it to 55 because of the Ballies, and then for some reason I said, no, none of y'all can have him. He's mine. I'm going to do this. And that was
at the end of the day, it's like you got to call your shot in fantasy, and if you want your guy, just go get your guy. And maybe Demercado's your dude. We're going to find out.
Dude, Cassidy,
you started this week, so we'll see.
Yeah, Cassidy, you stole literally everything I wanted to say there. But I was going to send something in our group podcast, and I wanted to save it for the show, so it's a good time to talk about that. Smitty, I love playing fantasy football with you. You are honestly my favorite person I've ever played fantasy football with. You are down. No, dude, you are down for anything. Burrito bets, water bets, jersey bets. If I need a trade and I need something on my team, I will always go to you first because of just the communication, and we will always work something out, dude. you are just an awesome person to play fantasy football with, bro. I seriously, I love you, homie.
All right,
Yeah.
wow, thank you so much. The fact of the matter is, this game is just wildly fun to me. So even if I am like trying to grind it out for a victory, I'm having fun in the process. So
Yeah, man.
we'll
Smitty
see
plays
how
with
it
his heart.
goes.
I love that. I love that about
Oh
him.
my god, I sure do. Oh, thank you. I sure do, and it screws me almost every time. So,
Yeah.
I also this segment is not over because literally the next morning, Dr. John put a fab bid on the actual starting running back in AZ, Deontay Ingram. So congratulations. I hope that does not work out for you, but you didn't really pay enough for it to be a loss if it isn't. So,
I'm pissed because I had to wait for Buzz Lightyear to go on IR, and he outbid me. I was pissed. I was like, "Ooh, I can sneak in." Yeah.
my God.
Ingram's a dude in Arizona. I don't care what anyone's saying. I respect Mike Wright for the way he evaluates the running back position, but he's wrong, dude. Ingram has a solidified spot in this lineup, and he is going. I don't know about this week just because he hasn't practiced lately, but he's gonna get more touches than DeMarcado. I do truly believe it.
Not a doctor, but just historically, when you see neck injuries pop up on running backs, that's been like the death knell. It's very hard for those guys to play through that. It depends on what his injury is and the severity, but the fact it's kept him out for a couple weeks, that really really scares me. Kind of reminds me of Chris Carson and how we watched him, his career basically end.
Good analysis, man. I miss Chris Carson.
I do
He was
too.
like-
statistic too.
He was an MVP every single year, dude. Like the most undervalued, awesome player, dude. Bring it back for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, Smitty, back to you.
Oh no, that was it. That was everything. I just had to add that Deontay Ingram did. $2, phenomenal.
All right, so walk us into the next segment then.
Oh yeah. So guys, as I mentioned at the top of the pod, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow finally gave us the game we wanted. We've seen actually a lot of players bounce back. So I'm calling this segment the Bounce Back Boys. So each of us will be. So there's like literally a long list of players that did well after a long season of just crap so far. So what each of us are going to do is we're going to mention a player that bounced back in week 6 that we can say, hey, or week 5, and we can say, hey, this guy is finally someone we want to like chase, and then also guys we do not want to chase. So who wants to start this segment off? I'm gonna go, Cassie. Cassie, who's your bounce back player that you are excited for moving forward?
Great, thanks. Yeah, man. I'm really excited to talk about these guys because I've got Justin Fields in 2 leagues, including a super flex. But we might as well bring DJ Moore into the conversation as well because this is very interesting. After 2 absolute stinkers, 3, we actually got these guys on the board, and currently you've got Justin Fields sitting at quarterback 3 in standard rankings, and DJ Moore, the wide receiver 3 on the year. Both these guys are averaging now over 20 points a game, and the truth about it is, anytime a fantasy player scores 50 points, you can't put them on your bench anymore. You have to start these guys. So I'm buying in. They're in my starting lineup, no questions asked. You can't miss that kind of a blow up. But then other big performances that I'm not chasing. DeAndre Hopkins this week with 11 targets and 140 yards. I'm not buying in, man. He's wide receiver 33 on the year. He's averaging 9 points a game. That's including that blow up performance. I just kind of think it's just bad vibes of Tennessee, man. I'm not digging that offense. It's slow, it's gross. He's gonna have big games. It's gonna happen on my bench. He's not going in my lineup. Obviously, he's a wide receiver 3-4. He's in play, but I'm not chasing those points.
Cassidy, my hat's off to you because our listeners will find out in a second, but you baited somebody in to talk crap about his player through our text messages. Awesome, dude. Nice, but honestly, man, I love it. I'm totally in. Everyone knows I'm a Fields guy. Smitty, you had a text message in your inbox within seconds of the DJ Moore trade for me. And I was beyond life that day on cloud 9 that my boy Justin Fields got himself a wide receiver. And I defended him all the way through. I almost gave up on him one week because I wasn't posted. But DJ Moore's been in my lineup every single week because that connection was going to happen. And by the way, look at Justin Fields next 4 or 5 weeks. It's on for Justin Fields. On.
Yeah, they do have
totally
a good
on.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, totally on.
I'm excited.
But so my bounce back, and I'm kind of excited about this. So look, I had a rough couple, first starting couple games for some of my bold predictions as I was going on, and we spent enough time smack talking Desmond Ridder and Drake London. We've been smack talking them, but the reality is I kept saying it. I said it at the draft. If we're going to surround this quarterback with all of this offensive talent and a running back that can catch a ball and take it to the house, and now we're seeing that Arthur Smith wants to use Desmond Ridder as a runner as well, sign me up as him being my third quarterback on my fantasy football team. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I want everyone just to remember what Ryan Tannehill was before he went into Arthur Smith's system, because that's when he played his best football and was a top 10 quarterback he had 1 year, and I think it was at least a QB1 in the top 12. I don't have the statistics, but I'm all on board. We're getting some crazy news on Kyle Pitts, and he's not happy, and something's weird about that. But Desmond Ridder can throw the football. He can't throw it all that well, but he can throw the football, and now he can run. Sign me up. He's going to fill a slot for me for 2 bye weeks from my other QBs, and I'm going to be very happy.
There you go. Yeah, when you mentioned at the draft that he's surrounded by talent, that really changed my life. In fact, it made me really think that Atlanta could be in the playoffs. I feel it now. I feel it. But Ridder, I don't know. We're going to have to see him keep that up. If he can.
He's a perfect QB3 for bye weeks, I think, because we now see he has a ceiling. Like, he actually has a ceiling. And that's what I want. And give me the stack. And, for 2 weeks, can you go out and get me points? And can the stack pay off 2 times for me this year? And that's what I'm pumped about. And by the way, so you were talking about a player you're fading. Look, I want to talk about the hearts that were broken around the world for zero RB guys like myself. Miles Sanders did not get a lot of hype. He was a dead zone running back, even though he was a 5th rounder, I believe. But the dead zone got into that 5th round this year. But he, to me, was a very good guy to take a shot on as a zero RB guy. And this guy sucks. This guy is atrocious from a standpoint of how he started this year. I mean, it is... Chuba Hubbard's going to end up being a starting running back there soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Honestly, I hope so. Let's see. On this pod, I've talked of Calvin Ridley. I've talked of Christian Kirk. I said I think at some point he's going to be the real wide receiver 1 of this Jaguars team. And now I'm finally seeing Calvin Ridley be the one that the world always thought he's been. Honestly, up until this week, Calvin Ridley has looked like a 1, but he hasn't really produced like a 1, and he may have even lost people weeks. But now the talent is finally matching up, and that really might be a T-Law thing, so shout out to T-Law. He went out in London, he faced one of the scariest teams in the league, and he handled business in the morning. Well, in the morning out here, I don't know what time it was out there. So shout out to T-Law, shout out to Calvin Ridley. He's the real deal. I'm finally going to have to give him my respect. So shout out to the Jaguars, the London Jaguars. And, Goddard had a great game against the Rams. But he's not playing the Eagles are not playing the Rams every week. They're not. So, and from so far, Goddard has kind of just been one of your average tight ends that you can really swap out for waiver wire fodder. So now this week, our last week makes you question it, but I don't think it's sticky. I just don't think Goddard is going to be the guy we thought he was last year. How do y'all feel about that? Do we need more time on that? Am I wrong? Or what are our thoughts on that?
So here's the thing with Goddard is he's just another guy from a work perspective. He doesn't add value from a work perspective, which is why I fade them and punt the tight end position. But the other side of that is Hurts rushed for 17 times last week, I believe. And, if I'm wrong and it was 16 or 15 or 18, I'm sorry, but I believe it was 17.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. So if he's going to do that, and you've got a running back in that offense now, and you've got two elite receivers, someone is going to disappoint every single week in that offense. And if I'm going to get disappointed from a tight end, I may as well have it on a team that doesn't have elite options on the outside.
Boom. Boom. Yes. Love that. So
I need to get screwed before I do this more often.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I guess
before
that's true, but like, that whole thing about Warp is, who's that substitute player? And I just don't think that there's anybody out there on the waiver wires that you're going to play over Dallas Goedert. And there's a chance that they made a switch this week, right? Like that was drastically different. Like he was heavily featured in the offense. He was featured early. He was featured often. They used him in the red zone. And I guess as far as Goddard goes, even though he's been a disappointment, like you're going to have to play that guy, There's
See, I
don't think there's any.
I don't think you do. So I sent this out in our group about Gerald Everett. You can get him on the waiver wire. They're coming out of a bye week right now. They have to replace targets for Mike Williams. We saw 1 week without him, but we've all seen this in fantasy that they implement a new system on a bye week when a player goes down. So, yeah, I'll take Gerald Everett over Goddard the rest of the year. I will. But the reality is Everett's going to fill 1, 2, 3 games, and he'll be back on the waiver wire, and I'll have another tight end come in. I mean, we'll see. You could get Dalton Schultz off the waiver wire. And, look, Dalton Schultz, we could talk about maybe this is a bounce-back candidate as well. Mm-hmm. Stroud can throw the football. So, there's got to be targets. So I just think it's replaceable. I just think he's going to go in and off the waiver wire for me.
So
I kind of feel that way too.
Yeah. So if you've got Goddard, you're trading high off that performance. That's the move, right?
Yep.
100%.
Gotcha.
I'd trade high off every big tight end's performance. I mean, look at Gerald Everett goes out and scores me 40 points this week. He's going to be on the
Bye.
Here's the block. Come get him, So,
For sure.
so I absolutely love it. But your take on Calvin Ridley. So all three of us owe him an apology. We really dogged that, and it was I think he was the rest of year candidate of what he was going to be rest of year. He proved us wrong, but I sent out a text message to you guys, and we forgot to talk about it last week. But remember, after the first London game, I sent a text message and said, we need to talk about Trevor Lawrence. And it wasn't that he scored a lot of points. You could see a change in him as a quarterback, effectively running an offense better. So we're seeing that with Ridley, too. So I agree, 100%.
Yeah, something clicked over there. It's looking better.
Thank
Big
God.
time. Yeah. Did you guys see the Ballers when they were talking about, or today they were talking about having the London team and that their mascot should be the Beefeaters? Their name?
Great podcast, man. I love them.
Dude, the Ballers were on one today.
All right, before we leave the bounce back was, I just want to mention 3 names, and I just want to get a quick response. So Etienne had a game too. Does that feel sticky moving forward?
Sell them.
Oh, okay. I disagree because I fully am bought in on the team, but that's a nice.
He's a top 12. He's a top 12 back. So,
Did you watch the game? Did you guys wake up and watch the game?
I love a London game, man. I love a London game.
You hated the fact that you started Travis Etienne until the end of that game.
Yeah.
That's
The end of that game. Yeah, I would sell that performance.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
Brees
if you
Hall.
believe Ridley's going to step up, and Ingram's having a good year, I'd sell it.
Yeah.
Okay, Brees Hall. He finally had himself a game. Is that sticky or is that a Broncos situation?
Buy it.
Or do we not know?
No, I'm in. I'm in. Good, brighter days are ahead for him.
I hope so, and I agree. Our final guy, Darren Waller, finally showed up. Yeah, I don't know if the offense did or not, but Waller finally did. So is this an above replacement type of tight end, or is he really just it's going to be in and out with him? Hard to predict. What do you guys think?
It was either last week or the week before I made the comment on Waller, and I said make him somebody else's problem and sell him.
Yeah, dude, I am a Waller manager, and it is so freaking stressful and demoralizing. And it's funny because like when you're talking about skill, I actually maybe Brian would know, analyze this a little bit better. I think he's an above warp replacement level talent. Like his actual, as a player, he's got more talent than a lot of these other guys in the field. But he is in an awful situation, and he's hurt. So
That's the problem.
Me and
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And Warp tells me that when he's on the field, he does add value to your team big time. But look at after that breakout season he had when he came back from rehab with the Raiders, how many games has he given you? He's always injured. And I will not bet on Daniel Jones.
I bet if he didn't have that campaign in 2019 or 18, whatever that was, if he didn't have that breakout campaign, I think we'd look at him much differently.
That's
Yeah.
a fact. Yeah,
He'd
I
be like
sure will.
Dalton Schultz, basically, or something.
Yeah, there's better options I think out there right now.
Yeah.
All right, now we're moving on to the next segment, and this segment was inspired by our host. Our host, he loves his zero RB strategy, so he is kind of a specialist when it comes to nasty boys. So we want to have a segment where we all kind of like mention a nasty boy of the week. So Brian,
So-
we're gonna start with you. Who's
So-
your nasty boy of the week? Yeah.
This being a big segment of mine now because I love this. I want to point out that when no one wanted Ramondre last year, when I zero RB'd it, nailed it. Nobody wanted Pollard till late, nailed that one. Nobody wanted Buzz Lightyear until late this year. I know he's injured, but we can say I nailed that one. I love my nasty boys. I'm always looking for a running back. And I will tell you right now, I am betting all day long on the Miami offense. 100%. Ahmed, you are my boy this week. You are my nasty boy. I want you to go back and look at the stats. When Buzz Lightyear came off the IR or came off of being injured at the beginning of the season, they limited his snaps. Jeff Wilson's coming off. They're going to limit. He's not going to have a lot of snaps. And the reality is, whoever is touching the football in that backfield, it is incredibly valuable touches. So, good job. Who got it? Jamie. Jamie got Ahmed, right? For a few
You
bucks?
did? Yeah,
Cheers,
I didn't
you.
write it down, but yeah, shout out to you.
You've got 1 week that he's going to crush, I think. And when I say nasty boy, if you give me 10 points because I got to start you, I'm happy. But I think he gets more than 10 points this week for you.
Yeah, I hate it, but I mean, you make great points.
Trust the process. Sometimes it fails. Actually, it usually fails.
So, Dubcast, what about you? Who's your nasty boy of the week?
Yeah. I agree with the 1 week on Ahmed. I think that, Jeff Wilson's going to get more involved moving forward, but if there's ever been a week to start Salvon Ahmed, this is the week. The first week I was on this podcast, my first hot take was sell Derrick Henry. And outside of 1 week, that take seems pretty, so far that's been working out. And that's for a lot of reasons, but one of the things that we're seeing is Tajay Spears, Derrick Henry is splitting snaps to that kid, and the kid's got juice. So I think that you can start him up this week. He's doing better in games that that the Tennessee Titans are actually losing because he's targeted. Last week he had 7 carries and he had 5 targets. He caught 4 of them. He brought one to the house for 19 yards. And they're going to have to throw the ball against Baltimore. So if you've got Tajay Spears on your bench and you're in a pinch, fire him up.
Yeah, Tajay Spears
I
and
like that one a lot.
Hubbard were my other two that I was looking at in there. And we got to remember, this started week 1, which was surprising that Tajay Spears was getting so many touches. I mean, week 1, fully rested, fully healthy, King Henry, and week 1 he worked himself onto that field. So I love it. I called you out to double down on that sell King Henry today, so I love the take. Beautiful. Start him. If you have to, start him.
Sure. And just real quick, there's a lot of high-value handcuffs out there. Tajay Spears might be the most valuable. He is, if anything happens to King Henry, then Tajay Spears could be your league winner.
He's looking like it. Yeah, definitely one of the best. I'm
gonna
gonna
get
just
some
shoot
usage.
that.
Yeah. Jordan Mason's the other one for me on that list, by the way.
Interesting. Wow.
Whoa!
If something happens to CMC, Jordan Mason.
Over the missile?
You heard it here.
Over the missile. Sneak him on your bench.
Football.
Yeah, sneak him on your bench.
Oh
I would.
God! This segment is making me cringe. And here's another cringe right here. Rashee Rice. I mean, frankly, when this is out, it's too late. So, I mean, if you have the balls to start him, shout out to you. But he's slightly emerging of the other crap. I can't call them crappy receivers, but the whatever receivers in Chiefs. So if you were to start one, Rashee Rice would be the guy. But like I said, the game's starting. So, sorry for that. Should we move on, guys?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Is everybody outside of Travis Kelce and Pacheco that are skill position on Kansas City, are they all nasty boys at this point? And by the way, we said we start with running backs, but we're calling nasty boys tight ends, whatever is just like nasty out there. Are they all nasty?
I would say yes, but I feel like Rice is slowly coming out, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, to have the best quarterback in football and all the wide receivers are nasty boys is crazy. It's nuts.
So sad. But they'll figure it out. They're the Chiefs.
By the way, I want to say this. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. But the Kyle Pitts drama today, I think I sent this out to you boys. Send that man to Kansas City. I want to see what that coach will do with that talent. Send him there. It could be incredible. If I'm Kansas City, I'm giving them a big price tag for that.
Oh man, start running 12 personnel on every snap. Let's go.
Incredible.
Hey, that would send them to the Super Bowl. So shout out. All right, let's see that happen. So, all right, so we have a mailbag. Well, it's really a poll from Scotty. So he asked early in the week, what is worse? Trade for a player who gets hurt the week you decide to start him, much like Justin Jefferson. He traded for Justin Jefferson. He got hurt. That sucks. Or B, you drop a player who soon becomes a legitimate weekly fantasy starter. So what's worse, acquiring JJ but to lose him, or dropping A-Chain just for someone else to pick him up and ride him to the playoffs?
I have a question. I have an example of that to think about.
Okay.
So the person that dropped Justin Jefferson his rookie year before he went on the best stretch that we've ever seen out of a rookie wide receiver, did that hurt more, or did it hurt more to lose Christian McCaffrey if you just traded for him the year he went out? Because to me, it's being wrong on the absolute elite talent of Justin Jefferson, because injuries happen. You can't kick yourself for that, but you can beat the shit out of yourself for dropping Justin Jefferson the week before he hit historic numbers.
If I'm being honest, I've literally done both of those, and
I was just gonna say I did both of those transactions.
And frankly, I hated the CMC one. He's now my top 3 least favorite players ever because of that.
Yeah. Here's what it boils down to. It boils down to process, right? And so I think we're all in agreement. It's worse to drop the player and then see them become relevant, because if you trade for a stud and they get hurt, that's out of your control, but the process was right. But if you drop a player who has upside and a path to significance, and then they become relevant, that was also within your control. You made the wrong decision. The process was incorrect. That's worse. That hurts more. Those haunt you. I have stories like that haunt me.
Yeah.
Ooh,
the only time I've ever gotten irritated after trading for a player and then getting injured, Smitty and I went on a 3-week run last year where we did a trade each week, and every trade that I did, that player got injured that week. So I had it happen 3 weeks. Do you remember that, Smitty?
I do, actually. That was crazy. That was probably last year, I think.
But it was the players that I sent you also got injured all 3 weeks. It was insanity. So I'll never get mad if someone gets injured. They just happen, and that's why that's why I don't usually have elite running backs on my squad, because it will happen.
Yep.
See, now we get it. That's smart. All right, and let's end. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay, we are at the last segment. Y'all, you know what? First time hosting, please forgive me. So we are going to do a childhood cartoons draft. We're going to draft our favorite childhood cartoons. What are we thinking about? 9 rounds? I mean, 9.
What?
How many are we doing? Okay,
3 rounds.
3 rounds. Okay, 3 rounds.
3 rounds. I wasn't ready for that. All right, let's do it.
All right. Well, since you don't have a list here, Cassie, I'll let you. We'll go you at the 101.
Oh, that's
Great.
funny.
I'll take He-Man.
He-Man?
He-Man at the 101 by the power of Grayskull.
Oh man,
That's
was it
sick.
was it the shirt off on He-Man? Is that why you liked it so much? Was it that the pecs? I think the pecs probably did it for you there. So 101 He-Man, 102. Who you got, Smitty?
I got Looney Tunes. That show was low-key a variety show. Even though it focused on comedy, it kind of did a lot. Some of the jokes were repeated, but it still did a little more than... It was a variety show, low-key, and I love the variety of it. So Looney Tunes was fire.
Yeah, I think Looney Tunes was in the running for a 101 for me, but you know what? At the 103, man, I'm just gonna holler at DuckTales. Yoo-hoo! So I'm aging myself a little bit there, but man, when I was a kid, I loved the DuckTales. Give me some Scrooge. You got some money. I mean, dude, they are legitimate. DuckTales, baby.
What a freaking pick! Oh my god, I would not have chosen that in round 2 or 3, but that's a good.
All right, I'll
Oh,
fire off
dude,
the second round.
DuckTales is legit.
First pick of the second round is Thundercats. Let's go.
Ooh,
Oh, I left that for my second. I thought no one would pick that because that is legitimately my favorite of all time.
Awesome.
Dude, you don't even know what Thundercats is, do you, Smitty?
I mean, let's just be honest. I'm aware, and I've seen a couple episodes.
Yeah. So to make you laugh, Cassidy, when it had to be like second grade, for Halloween, I dressed up as Lionel from
Yeah.
Thundercats.
Yeah, I actually know who that is, and that's awesome.
Oh, dude, orange wig and everything. Dude, awesome. Anyway, so who's your 201, Cassidy?
Huh? No, it's
Yeah, you
Who's
just
your
said,
201?
that was it. I give you Thundercats.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. This is why I'm not hosting.
but I got a Tom and Jerry. I was hoping none of you guys would take it.
Ooh, that's
Tom and
classic.
Jerry. Now, unfortunately, that one is a little more one-dimensional. But goodness, they could do it all day. And then when we finally heard Tom's voice when he was singing, that changed everything.
I missed. Which one did you say?
Oh, Tom and Jerry.
Oh, Tom and Jerry's great. Tom and Jerry's great. Now, can we consider The Simpsons in a cartoon?
Oh, what? Oh no, that's a good pick. I mean, yeah I'd say
100%.
yes.
It's a cartoon.
That's a great
It's
pick.
the longest running TV
I was
show
thinking Saturday
ever outside
morning
of soap opera.
cartoons. You know, I was thinking Saturday morning
I
cartoons.
was thinking that
but-
too as well, but
Yeah.
All right, so you know what? We'll go with Saturday morning cartoons. Voltron. Check it.
Ooh. Okay, you're getting really close to my third pick. That was tight.
Oh, I'm going to snake your third pick, dude. Transformers.
Whew. That was close too. But dang, oh man, the third round is hot. But and I don't know if you two will agree, but I have Dragon Ball Z. I had to get some
Oh.
Japanese cartoon representation, and Dragon Ball Z really changed my life. Shout out to my aunt. Thank you.
I love it. And I will, for the last one, I'm just going to go with the DuckTales theme because it started right after DuckTales. Darkwing Duck, baby. Let's go.
Ooh, okay.
Solid.
All right, is this my turn now?
It's your turn. Last pick, baby. Let's go.
Best superhero show of all time, Batman the Animated Series. And I honestly should have went higher with that one, but he fell.
Yeah. No, that's, I think you actually might have got the best value out of the draft. Simpsons probably would have been the best value if you went with it, but man, I love your value. So everybody out there, if you're still listening, let us know who won this draft. I want to hear from the other parts of the league. That's going to be pretty funny. But I think we're good. We got everything in. Cassidy, anything else to say, Smitty? By the way, Smitty, what's the name of the podcast?
The Fantasy BS Podcast. Oh, guys, this was a rough. Hey,
Yeah.
if you're still watching, thank you, man. We're trying it.
I love it. I want to thank everyone for listening. End it, Smitty. Let's do it. End it for us.
All right, good luck in week 6. Hopefully you take a W, and unless you're playing me. So goodbye, Jim. Hope you lose.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Party and bullshit.